So this is the latest of our videos looking at the GCSE specimen paper. We're looking at question 4 here. It tells us we're going to hear the excerpt 3 times and again gives you the boxes to tick it when necessary. First of all, it asks you to describe the tonality of this excerpt, and it also says the word that best describes the tonality of this excerpt, so it implies that it could fall into more than one of the brackets. Now straight away I'm willing to discount pentatonic here because pentatonic can be major or minor in itself. It's any 5-note scale. We'll look at that in a minute. Modal, there's a chance it could be modal, but generally speaking these questions tend to fall into major and minor at GCSE. There are exceptions to that, but that's where I'll be leaning towards at the moment. So obviously if we're hearing major key, then we'd be looking out for the third of the key. So if I switch on my little keyboard here, it would be in this case the third being an E, although confusingly for you it comes up as a D on here because it's a musical typing keyboard, but that sort of sound as opposed to an E flat within a C minor chord. So hopefully that clears it up a little bit. So it says in the mark scheme here that the answer is indeed major, so we were right to be leaning towards them too. Now the next question, again I'm not particularly fond of because it just says identify 2, and it does make 2 bold, so that's quite important, but it says just 2 features in the guitar part, and it doesn't ask you to focus on a musical feature or a technological feature or performance technique or anything. So realistically it's giving you a wide berth to say pretty much anything. And the mark scheme here says that it's repeats / riff / ostinato. Of those answers, probably riff is the most appropriate. So that's a musical device. And then it asks you for a technological, it suggests a technological answer of distortion. So obviously it's a little bit confusing as a question. I doubt you'd get something that vague in the actual GCSE paper that's coming up. But if you are, then be willing to, if you get something that says something as simple as features rather than being specific, be willing to mix musical and technological features. The next question asks you on which beat of the bar does the tonic of the key always appear. Now obviously it could be any of beats 1, 2, 3 and 4, so clearly from what they've given you this is a piece that's in 4/4. My gut instinct would be to say that it's almost certainly on 1, but it could possibly be on 3 because that's when chords tend to change, not all the time, but they're my first 2 feelings. And again, if we looked at the mark scheme, then we can see that it says it falls on the first beat of the bar. So again, we narrowed our answers down and we were proved to be on the right lines. And then question 4D here, the question plays a descending pattern, so you need to make sure you're listening out for something that descends in pitch, goes from high to low, 4 times in the extract, so it makes it very clear to you what you're looking for, something that goes down in pitch 4 times. And it asks you which scale is the pattern based. So it suggests you chromatic, which is when everything moves in semitones, so that would be something that sounds a bit like that. So every semitone is used. It could be a descending major pattern, which would sound something like. It could be a descending pentatonic pattern, which might sound something like that. Or it could be a whole tone pattern. Now we haven't looked a lot at whole tones throughout the course, but that's when the distance between every note is a full tone, 2 semitones, rather than using any semitones. So that would sound something like that, because you're always going down a whole tone rather than a semitone. Now the mark scheme makes it clear to us that the correct answer is in fact pentatonic. So obviously we've gone towards the things that we've looked at the most in the course there, pentatonic. I would have gambled that it could be pentatonic or major that are most likely, but really any one of these 4 answers could be possible. So